the State Building Commission. You can't do it.
Okay, you know, it's gonna go round and round here. Mr. Soly, thank you.
Mr. President, if I may,
Town Administrator Hamilton?
I just want to clarify what Mr. Soly said. You're more than welcome. That isn't what I said. I asked for respect for the staff when they're in the middle of projects. Give me a buzz, let me know you're coming, shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever is convenient for you. And I also said that we would try to get everything you needed as quickly as possible. That's what I said. Now, can a resident come right in? Not really. They can come in, they can ask if the person's unavailable, person's working on something. We try to do the best with what we can. We'll take their name and number if the person is out to lunch or whatever, that type of thing. That's the only thing that I've asked, and it isn't just with this town council, it's with previous councils before. There was one councilor in particular that was insistent upon contacting the staff directly, and out of courtesy for the workload of the staff, I just ask that you provide at least a heads up if you can do that. If you're in the neighborhood and you want to drop in for a minute, that's fine. But I just think that there are, you know, and Mr. Zawinski did, you know, allude to the fact that every Friday, you know, it's become a habit to go to the annex, the Bushy School, and then to come to the town hall. I mean, there are things that if you need, we will never keep information from you. You can call us, you can send a carrier pigeon, you can do whatever you need. But sometimes it's just really hard, especially during budgetary times, to stop everything we're doing, sit down and have a meeting with them. It isn't meant out of disrespect, it's meant out of respect for the staff that I try to maintain that decorum for them.
Madam Administrator, I would agree that during budgetary times, I don't go to town hall. The accusation was July 30th, post-budgetary time. Yes, on Fridays, I go to the annex to pick up my packet. And I go to town to conduct town business. Whether it's to submit a voucher to get repaid for the plans that were lost, yeah, I do that. And I will continue to do that, regardless of your emails, asking town council members not to come into, you know what? I'm an elected official of this town. Yes, you've sent it out twice.
Yes, and
Yes, you have.
you have to read it
Oh, I have.
completely. You are interpreting it in such a way that says do not come in. It says, please give us advance notice. There's a big distinction between those two.
How much advance
And I
notice,
have
how
all-
much advance notice do you think would be appropriate?
I just explained that. I don't think
One more time, I'm a little slow.
If you want to come in because you're in the neighborhood and you want to stop and say hello, that's fine. Sitting down and asking for things like Mr. Erickson and I have been involved in trying to get when Mr. Cambio was there, we had to drop a lot of things to do this. What I just want to do is ask for your respect for the time constraints that people have on projects due. And if there's something of a magnitude that will take us a long time, just give us a heads up and we'll get it for you. Give us a timeline. It's not a big deal.
You know, I can respect that, but when an issue's been allowed to fester for years, and I stop in, and you understand that I have a career outside of this. You're the full-time
Right?
employee as well as everyone else. Drop by, I come in when it's convenient for me to stop by, just like any resident in town wants to stop
That's
by.
right.
So, yeah, you know what, would you like me to call you? Maybe you'll answer your phone once in a while. Would you like me to email
I
you?
saved that message.
I'm glad you did.
I saved it.
I'm glad you did.
I believe it.
Super. And I've got all your messages and emails as well.
Okay.
You know what, we're spinning wheels here.
Okay, now, let me just, one.
Can I say something?
One comment.
Hang
You didn't
on, hang
answer
on.
my
This
question.
is an attempt to stymie anybody in this town from getting the information they need. This is an attempt to stop me from following up on open-ended issues that you've had enough time for, Madam Administrator. That's basically what it is. Can I tell you, I don't really relish giving up my Fridays off to come in and finish up on projects that I'm finished up on.
Mr.
Is that
Zawinski, I don't believe that you answered my question.
What was that, Councilor Neal?
I asked you if you ever did go or call and say to any employee, pick a side, or that they were on the chopping block.
Can't recall, but if they want to come up and address that situation, I'll be glad to speak with them.
All right, so your answer is you can't recall.
pick a side. I will wait for that individual employee to come up and make that comment.
Okay, I would not ask
Why not?
or push anyone to do so for fear of your employment. I would completely understand.
Wait a minute, I'm not the
why
one that
you
fires
would-
people in town. Let's get that clear. I'm not the one that has the ability to
I
fire
would
someone.
understand why any employee would not feel compelled to stand up, having worked in what I hear is a very stressful environment. There is somebody else that would like to speak, Mr. President.
It is a hostile environment in town hall. Make no qualm about it.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Roberta Monahan, and actually, I'm not the administrative assistant, I'm the assistant planner
Sorry about it.
and the GIS analyst for the town. I wasn't gonna get up here for exactly the same thing you said, because I worry about my job. But the truth is, I was there the day that you knocked on the door. Mr. Erickson was not asleep, he was on the phone. I saw that after you knocked on the door. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew Mr. Erickson wasn't sleeping, he was working. Okay, what transpired between the two of you was between the two of you. As far as when you make requests, we jump to get your request filled. We do, because I'm asked to aid with that. So I just want to tell you that when you ask for something, I am looking for that. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. We are rewriting the comp plan by ourselves, and we've got lots of things going on. We are busy, but we do stop when you ask for something. We stop what we're doing to get it for you. So I am compelled to get up here and say, I don't understand why you're making us sound so bad. I honestly, on Friday afternoons when you come in, I don't have a problem with you coming in. But I don't have residents or other town council members who come in, walk through my office, walk through the planning department, and then greet me at my door while I'm in the hallway. I think it's intimidating. I'm not saying there's any motive, but I am intimidated. And frankly, all of this nonsense that's going on in town is hurting morale. It's hurting productivity. There's this blog that everybody's obsessed with. It's disgusting, okay? And those people should be called to the mat.
Is this solicited point of order, please? What does it have to do with picking sides?
Oh, okay, sorry. Anyway, I just wanted to say that Mr. Erickson was not asleep, and that we worked very hard in that office to do whatever you request.
Bobby, I appreciate everything you do. Normally, you're asked to do it by Mr. Erickson on this. Have I ever said, Bobby, I need this? Because I have emails that came from Mr. Erickson to you asking to provide me. Have I ever said to you, Bobby, I want this information?
I can't recall that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your honesty and your candor. And by the way, I respect everything you do, because when you're asked to do this by the administrator or the town planner, it's usually within a 12-hour turnaround time. You're very proficient at what you do. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, Bobby, I just want to finish up on something. Yeah, I did walk around and cut through your office. It was a Thursday night, roughly 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Right? It was not a Friday, and I was
It was
walking
a
around and said,
Thursday night.
hello, hello? And I walked through. You were in the administrative assistant's office with,
Correct.
if I got the right term for Tabitha, title?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And I was walking, there was nobody in that building except for you two ladies on the first floor.
Yes.
On the first floor.
And there was a meeting going on.
Yeah, and Mr. Pendergast was in the meeting, and I'm looking for someone in the planning department.
Okay.
And you were in another office, so because I've gone in that town on a Friday
Yeah.
into town hall where it's been shuttered. The
Yeah.
department, the only two people working on a Friday were Mr. Johnson and Ms. Doobie. The entire second floor was gone, there was nobody there. So there is concerns, and I'm not addressing this to you, it's mostly to the public. There's a morale problem for those that do work their hours they're supposed to work and don't have a special deal. They've been talking to me about it. I'm sure they've been talking to Council Soly. We are not going to come in and enforce whatever the special deal the administrator has. I'm in there to get answers about development in this town that has not been overseen in a few years. That's what I want.
Well, I'd just like to say, we don't have a special deal. The only
you
the
know.
only time that Mr. Erickson and I are out at the same time is when we're at a function that requires both of us to be there. I'm being trained to be the planner, so I need to be at those meetings.
Not questioning you about it.
Well, I'm just answering the thing about, you talked about nobody's in the planning department. That's why there's no one in the planning department.
There was nobody in the building that day,
Well,
except for two
that's-
individuals.
People go to the other building, I don't know, but I just,
Okay.
the accusation, you know.
It's not an accusation issue. It is a habitual problem where people are not in their offices when they should be.
You know, Mr. Zelinski, that really irritates me.
Irritates me.
Because you don't know where we are, and you're implying and offering to the public that we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
It's the same as the bribery comment, I guess,
I'm
right?
sorry, but there's no public comment right now.
That's my wife, thank you. You want to step up to the podium?
It's easy for, hi, my name is Noreen Smolensky. Paul Smolensky is my husband. And I think it's a sin what is going on right here because the families are affected. You're talking about working. Everybody works, everybody has a job. All of our people out there have a job and they're also serving the town. And you're trying to do what's right for the town, not individually. And the comment, you're afraid about comments, how would you like to be part of these families and be called, like, a comment in the newspaper about bribery? A comment you made callously. And you should think clearly before you speak ever again about any member of the council or anyone that serves any town and how it affects their families. You should be embarrassed. And that's my comment to you.
And if I may equally, the families of myself. with
Are you
this-
speaking to me?
Well, I'm speaking
No, I'm
to
just,
the
should
public.
I go back to the
No,
public?
really, no, we don't, we're done.
Oh, okay, great,
No,
thanks.
thank you. I appreciate your comment, because I can understand how you feel.
No, you don't.
Yes, I can.
I don't think so.
Because I am being accused of not working. There are implications, there are special deals, there are things going on. And my family is affected equally as yours.
Was it
So
in the
we have-
newspaper? I'm confused.
Oh,
Was
it
that
is in the
comment in the newspaper?
It's
Please,
always
may I have
in
order,
the
please?
paper. It's a very frustrating thing, you and I agree 100%.
Yes.
It's disgusting to have
Are you paid for your job?
anonymity. Pardon me?
Are you paid to do your job?
Yes, just like you,
Just like what?
just like she is.
No, I'm speaking about the council members.
Is this an open meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it is now.
Excuse me, I don't know
Yeah.
the
I
business
really
side.
get a little bit of feel, Mr. President, but I mean, obviously you want to use some latitude, right? I understand.
Mr. President, I want to make one final comment that address one final comment that Mr. Zelinski made, and that is about meddling in stuff that's not planning. This town is unusual in that I have to spend 20% of my time dealing with problems from the past, of which Rockcliffe Farm was one, and one of the most egregious I've ever seen in any town, because I was a consultant for 15 years. That 20% of my time, this stuff is time that other towns don't have to spend. When I was in Dartmouth, I spent 1% of my time for the first month cleaning up old problems. This is nothing but headaches. And it involves ISDS, and it involves cemeteries, and Rankin Path was all about cemeteries. You know, it's just an endless cleaning out of the stables in this town. And I particularly don't appreciate it when somebody wants to fight it all the way down rather than take responsibility for what they did.
Mr. Erickson, have you been researching any actions of me when I was the town planner, when I was receiving the paycheck from this town?
Only what you told me, but you did a great job.
Sorry. That's not, have you talked about researching previous problems. Have any of those problems involved me as the director of planning for the town of North Smithfield?
No, only you as
Thank you.
chair. Chair of
Sorry,
planning.
as the director of planning, collecting a paycheck from the town of North Smithfield.
I haven't had
You
problems
said no,
back that
that's
far.
fine. I've
No.
got my answer. Thank you, Mr. Erickson.
All right.
Mr. President, can we now see if any of the public want to speak in regards to this?
Taking sides?
No, well, just the whole topic in general.
Yeah, I would entertain. Oh,
Fine.
I need you to take a vote if you're gonna open up the public comment.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman
I'd like to
Soly.
make a motion to open this topic up to public comment.
Okay, motion by Councilman Nato, second by Councilman Soly, the
Second.
chair, and Councilman Woonsocket. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, okay.
Mr. President, I would just, again, I would focus on the topic and keep the comments to the topics.
The topic where there's three
That's
items.
what I, that's why I think we should
There's
announce the
three
topic.
items on the
I
F.
thought Councilwoman, which topic was it, alternate? Okay, you should just make that clear, that's all.
Mrs. O'Hara?
I can tell each and every person here, if I wasn't so exhausted, I'd be crying. Crying because anytime a team is working together and there is discord, the first thing you're taught, even as a child, you address the person. You don't go outside source, you address the person. If you have any doubts about what was done, you don't go to the papers as a source of venue. And this, Mrs. Nato, all others, is not the first time. And I even called the Ethics Committee when you were running for office. And I think I went to town hall to address it at that time. Can a person running for office put a letter in a paper? And I duck at my age, word for word, but in essence, when I'm elected, if I'm elected, and if a family member,
If you're gonna bring my daughter into this,
I'm not,
you should
listen,
just
no,
stop
I'm not
speaking,
doing anything
please.
negative. I'm not attacking the child. I would never attack a child, but I'm telling you.
My daughter was used to attack me, and that is what you're
No,
speaking
no, no,
of.
I'm not, no, you're going that way.
No, I'm not, that's what you're
State
talking
law,
about.
you over,
I was
overruled
not a
state law.
candidate when I sent that letter.
You
I've
were
already
running
discussed.
for office,
I was not a candidate for town council.
but you implied.
I was not running for office, I was not a
Implied
candidate.
in the letter because I had doubts about it.
Mr. President.
Implied in the letter.
June
25th. June 25th, I
Mike,
have
come
it.
up to the podium.
I have it. I have it. My name is Tony Gerton, I live at 8 Country Way. You sent the letter on June 25th. It was an extortion letter. You sent it on June 25th. I have never been so embarrassed to live in this town as I am right now. And you know what, folks? This is what we get when 5 people run for office. I hope all of you remember that next election. Don't forget what you're witnessing tonight, because there's more than one person on this council who does not belong there. And it's killing us, and you're witnessing it. And you wrote that letter. If anybody wants to see it, I have a copy of it, June 25th. The election was November 4th. You were running for office, and it was extortion.
And I'm not having a senior moment, am I right? I'm
No,
not.
you're right on, Mrs. Parra.
Oh, no, I have
I'm
to
gonna
Mr.
say
Gerton,
this.
be very
And
clear about
I
that.
am going to say this.
The threat
That I'm.
Did it sound like a threat? Did I threaten anyone? Sound like a threat? What did?
Ms. O'Hara, please continue.
That
At the microphone, please, Ms. O'Hara. Thank you.
that things have to be addressed the bottom up. You don't go to the press and put things out like this.
Excuse
It
me,
makes
but I
this
didn't
town
go to the news.
look like a laughing stock.
I didn't have Channel 10 ambush me at my house yesterday. I was not the one who put this on the agenda.
Who started?
I wasn't the
You
one who did
started
it.
it.
Yes, okay, I made the comments on the Valley Breeze. Yes, I did. I own that.
So
I
resign.
did that.
It doesn't sound like you're owning it.
Did I just not say that?
No.
What do you mean, it doesn't sound like it?
Please, can we have a vote, please?
All right, so I'm just telling you, you work as a team, you don't go to the press. And I look at all of you. You know, I don't own, Mrs. Hamilton and I have been to more parties lately, more funerals, sitting next to one another. Do we always agree? I will defend your right to disagree. It's the way you disagree that is wrong. It is unprofessional, and it's not working as a council together. I have gone into town hall. I've never had my tax dollars. They're wonderful to me. You know, if they need to come back, we have a great team. And they do try to help you whenever they can. And we are short-staffed, absolutely. But when I see this, after the last time, with said letter, where I in question how a person who has written a letter like that run to office, I was told because I wasn't elected official, I couldn't fight. I didn't know how it could be. And on other issues, there are holes in state laws governing school regulations that are going to have to be tightened up. Because people are circumventing state laws by loopholes. And it's wrong. And if you're going to be on said council, you better walk the straight and narrow. It's just, I can tell you, I've been into these meetings for a long time. And I love this town. My parents, my father was born here in Barry here. My husband and I lived most of our marriage over 46 years here. And to see this going on,
Mrs.
shame
O'Hara,
on you.
Mrs. O'Hara, just one comment from the chair, is that if you know there's deficiency in state laws, then I would suggest that you contact
All the school.
Brian Newbury, Mark Cody, Senator Ed O'Neill, and also, was it Paul Fogarty? There are State House delegation, and to
School
make,
department knows of this. Our school department knows of this loophole.
then if there's a loophole, then if you know whatever the loophole is, then please bring it
Absolutely.
forward to somebody so it can be closed. Because right now they're in session, and that'll be the end of it, so, nothing more, nothing more.
Point of order, Mr. President. You follow Robert's Rules of Order.
Go ahead, sir.
In that case, in a public hearing, everyone who speaks to you. And then you find the person who can answer the question back, and they speak to you. When you encourage direct contact, or direct back and forth, it degrades the process. And the whole idea behind Robert's Rules of Order is to have an exchange and debate of ideas, not attacks on people. In fact, Robert's Rules says you should go out of your way to avoid naming names. You can say the
You're
previous
correct.
speaker or whatever. That's what Robert's Rules of Order says. And the last time we had a public hearing, it was just unbelievable. When John Flaherty says he wants no part of town government anymore, that's a very serious issue. And I think we need to go back to Robert's Rules of Order and make sure we can continue in a discourse. Because if somebody wants to go head-on-head with me and bypass the chair, bring it on. But I would rather see the town make progress in becoming more civil. Because people who run next time are going to run on a pattern of civility. They're going to bring back civility to town government.
You're correct.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
Yeah, you know something? I got it. Mr. President, let me just just say something regarding what the town administrator said just a little while
Can you
ago.
identify yourself, sir?
My name is Dennis Filato, Paul. It's like I live at 2002 Providence Pike. She turned around and said that all her employees do their jobs. Well, back in November, every year I put in my calendar, the town of North Smithfield has a flu shot clinic. So what happened is, it usually appears either in the newsletter or you usually hear about it through the town council or something. So I ended up calling Mr. Soly up, and I asked Mr. Soly, I said, hey Tony, it's like, did you hear anything about the flu clinic for the town of North Smithfield? He says, you know, it's like, no, my wife asked me about that as well.
Mr. Solicitor, this is off the topic.
Yeah.
These were just the three things that we're discussing that was mentioned about. Perception, Mrs. House should not be voting on DPW matters, town council members taking bribes from Woonsocket, town council members telling a town hall employee to pick your side. Those are the three items that we're discussing right now. If you have a question, Dennis, dealing with that, please feel free to answer, but not, right now we're off topic. It's a point of order, correct, Mr. Solicitor?
Sounds a little bit off topic to me, Mr. President.
If you want any of those three topics, you can speak to Mr. Filato.
No, I'll wait, I'll come back, thanks.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Hearing none, fine. We're going to go to docket item number 10. Discussion by council vote on action on consent agenda. All items listed in this section are considered to be one motion. No separate discussion of these items unless the council so requesting, which the event the item will be removed from the